ulcerative colitis, and I just wanted to give you a little update as to what I've been going through, how we I guess kind of got to where we are today, and just give you a little bit of a background information as to what ulcerative colitis is. Ulcerative colitis is basically like your body, your intestines especially, takes whatever food you take in. Your intestines have, I don't know if it's red blood cells or what, I think it's red blood cells. I'm not 100% sure, don't quote me on that. The red blood cells in your intestine break down the food that you're eating, but instead of it treating it as nutrients and food in your body, it treats it as almost like a virus. So it attacks whatever you're eating. So basically your body's in fighting mode. So it's constantly fighting off a virus, even though it's just food. It's like nutrients and vitamins that you need, but the colon thinks, the red blood cells in your colon thinks it's a virus and attacks. And then basically you get inflammation of the colon, where the colon is very red. Sometimes there's bleeding, and you have to go to the washroom a lot. And when you're in a flare, if it gets really bad, it gets to the point where you become nauseous and you vomit, and just basically you can't keep anything down, like water. You're like throwing it up, or even like going to the washroom, just having water. So if your flare is really bad, it's quite bad, and it can get to be to the point where you can have serious issues, especially if you're bleeding a lot. You can become anemic. There's a whole bunch of issues that are related with ulcerative colitis, so it's tough. It's very hard, and it is not something I would want anyone to have, and it's an ongoing condition. It's an ongoing disease. Basically, you have it for life. I mean, you can go into remission and not have it for years, not have any symptoms, but you still always have it. Like, it doesn't go away. So when a few years ago, I think it was around November, I can't remember what year it was, I was having really bad diarrhea. Kept going to the washroom, couldn't eat anything. I was basically on the Bratz diet, just bread, toast, apples, applesauce, water, soup, Jello, and even then it got to the point where I couldn't keep anything down. And we thought it was E. coli, because this was around the time that they had recalled romaine lettuce, because there was a chance that there could be E. coli. So I thought it was that. So this went on for about 2 weeks. And I also thought it was that because my kids also were experiencing the same symptoms I was. So I thought it was just that, and that it would pass. After they had it for about 2 or 3 days, and then they felt better. So, but I still was having symptoms, and it got to the point that it was so bad that my dad took me to the hospital, and we stayed there all night, pretty much. Got home at like 4 o'clock in the morning, only to they did some tests. They sent me home with a test that I have to do at home, because they can test my stool. And I had to bring it in the next day, and they basically referred me to a doctor, but to a GI doctor, but they said it could take up to 2 weeks before someone could get a hold of me. But basically not really giving me any other reason as to what it could be. So after that, I was like, I don't want to wait 2 weeks. So I went to a walk-in clinic, and she referred me to another GI doctor. And she said that this doctor is the fastest responding doctor in the area, and that he should be able to help me with whatever it is that I'm experiencing. So, and then she also gave me antibiotics because she thought it might be an like a bacterial virus type thing. And because I told her I thought it might be E. coli, she thought the antibiotics would help. So taking the antibiotics didn't really help. I still had the same symptoms, and I think it was like 2 or 3 days later where I got a call back from that doctor and had an appointment a few weeks later and went to go see him. And he had, when I went to go see him, he had scheduled a colonoscopy for me because he wanted to see what was going on inside my colon. And after doing the colonoscopy, sorry, so the doctor suggested a colonoscopy, so I did one. Not a fan of the prep work for it. I don't know if any of you have had a colonoscopy before, but it's not exactly fun to prep for. But basically you have to drink a lot of this liquid, this medication that cleans out your colon and make sure everything's clear before you go for the colonoscopy. And what they do is they stick a camera inside your colon. I'm not going to tell you where. Google it if you want to look, if you want to know. And then they put air inside your colon to inflate it. And that basically just gives them a better look as to what's going on inside your colon. So when they did that, the doctor realized that I do have ulcerative colitis. So he put me on a medication, pill form, and told me to take that and see how that goes. So I took that for a few months, and it was working fine. I was doing well, and then I had a flare. And this GI doctor that I had at the time, not a fan of, because I was trying to get a hold of him just to talk to him or to even book an appointment, and he was always fully booked. And when I explained to his receptionist that, I need to see him because I'm not feeling well, and I wanted to discuss what my options were, and was basically like, too bad for you, like, we don't have any appointments, you're just gonna have to wait. So I wasn't too thrilled with that. And also, this doctor made you wait for long periods of time. My appointment would be at 11 o'clock, and he'll stroll into the office at 11:30, 11:45. Like other people have, like we have lives, like we want to be getting on with our lives and going to the appointment, be done as soon as possible, and then go on with our day. And this doctor was just like, he runs on his own time, and that's it. Like, too bad for you. So I wasn't too thrilled with that either. And his receptionist was very rude, because when I tried to book an appointment, I had asked, like, is there any way that you can put me on a waiting list, that if anybody cancels, they can give me a call. And it was basically, oh, too bad. Like, we don't do cancellations. It's whatever's available, and that's it. So, yeah, not too happy about that. So it went on for a few more days where I was still in a flare, and my symptoms weren't getting any better. So my husband suggested, let's go to a different hospital. So we went to a hospital that was about half an hour away from our house, and the doctor there was very thorough, did all these scans and tests and just to make sure that everything was okay. And you can tell he seemed genuine. Like he wanted to make sure that we solve the problem and that we find a solution to help deal with my my symptoms. So after being there, I was there for about a week, or 10 days or 11 days or whatever. I had asked him, like, are you accepting new patients, because I'm not a fan of my doctor. And he said yes. So he took me on as a patient and suggested that we do Entyvio. So after doing Entyvio for a few months, it was helping. And Entyvio is an infusion where they inject the medication into your veins, and it helps. It's geared towards ulcerative colitis and to help with the symptoms. So it goes directly to your colon. And in my previous video, I explained how I felt afterwards after taking that. So there is some side effects to having an infusion done. So what they do with an infusion is they call it stacking. So the first 2 weeks, the first one, you get it done usually in the hospital. I did it in a clinic because this was all during the time of the pandemic. The pandemic was just starting, so it wasn't exactly a good time to go to the hospital. Like, I didn't want to go to the hospital again. So they did the infusion, and 2 weeks after that I did another one, and then 2 weeks after that there was a third one. So they do it back to back to make sure that you don't have any reactions to it and that it starts working. And then after that you do it every 2 months. So after having it done, after doing the stacking and having a couple of the infusions, I was fine. But then I had another relapse, I guess you could say, if forgetting the word. But I wasn't doing well. Same symptoms, going to the washroom a lot. There was blood. I was vomiting, nauseous, not able to eat anything, drink anything. Just nothing was staying down, and I lost a lot of weight. So then my doctor suggested that we switch to a different infusion medication called Remicade. That's what I'm on now. And we did the stacking, and I was fine. But then I had another relapse again, where I had bad symptoms, where I was going to the washroom, blood again in my stool, and feeling nauseous, not able to eat. So I went to the hospital again. So that's when he suggested that we increase. Sorry, the first time, when I first started doing the Remicade, I did it in the hospital. So I had a relapse, went to the hospital, the doctor suggested Remicade, which is a stronger infusion medication, to see if that helps. So I was doing that, and I was fine. So after doing the stacking and going every 2 months, when they started doing the 2 months, that's when I had a relapse again, where I started feeling the symptoms. And I kept going to the washroom, and it was just not, I wasn't 100%, and I was losing weight again. And that's when he suggested that we do a stool sample, I believe it was. No, it was blood work that I had done. And that's when he figured out, I think there was blood work and there was a stool sample. And that's when he figured out that I had an infection in my colon, which was aggravating my ulcerative colitis. So we weren't sure if the infection was causing me to have the symptoms, or if it was the ulcerative colitis, or if it was both. So I had to go on medication for that. And I had to basically only use one washroom. My kids and my husband had to use the washroom downstairs. I was only restricted to that washroom because it's very, very contagious, and I didn't want to have my kids deal with that either. I didn't want anybody else to get it. So I was on the medication, and my doctor referred me to another GI doctor who dealt more with ulcerative colitis and this infection. So he had suggested that we increase the dosage on the Remicade and we go more often after I finish my my medication for the infection. So that's where I'm at now. So instead of going every 2 months to do my infusion, I'm going every month, and they doubled the dose. So far, knock on wood, God willing, everything's okay. It's been helping. So I have been going every month for my infusion. So tomorrow is my next infusion, and it's at a different clinic. The only thing is, I wanted to film in that clinic, but the issue is that it's not very private. There's other people. I mean, there's little booths. They're divided by glass partitions and stuff, so that everybody's safe and you have to wear masks and that kind of thing. But everybody's all in one room. So I don't know if I can film it tomorrow. So I just wanted to come on here and explain what's going on. But yeah, so my infusion's tomorrow. And the thing with the Remicade is that because it's a stronger dose, they inject it into your veins slower. So with the Entyvio, it was about half an hour to an hour where you're in the clinic getting your infusion. And they ask you to stay after the first couple of doses. They ask you to stay for half an hour with the Entyvio, just to make sure you don't have any allergic reactions or anything. So this time with Remicade, the infusion lasts for a minimum of 3 hours because they're injecting it slowly, and then they ask you to stay the first time. They ask you to stay for half an hour afterwards, just to make sure that, again, you don't have any reactions to it. So the first time I was there for 3.5 hours. So basically it was my entire day was done. So tomorrow it's at 12:30. So I'm going to have my big breakfast that I have you saw in my previous video, and then have my lunch and then go to the infusion. And I'm basically there from 12:30 until the kids are my kids are done school, which is at 3 o'clock. So I miss the whole afternoon, majority of the afternoon, and then I just come home and rest. So that's gonna be my day tomorrow. Not very exciting, and it takes up a lot of my time. But usually what I do is just try to rest, or read a book if I can't sleep, because it's such a long time there, and you get bored and you're really can't go anywhere because you're stuck to an IV. So yeah, if you want, if you have any questions about my condition, or if you have it and you want to comment on stuff that's worked for you, medications, diet, that kind of thing, please feel free to comment in the comment section below. Please make sure to also like and subscribe. And in one of my next videos, I'm going to be talking about my diet, what works for me, what doesn't work for me, and explain a little bit more about, I guess, symptoms and stuff, if you guys are interested. So that's it for now, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Hey guys, so it's a few days after my infusion. I was unable to record me actually getting the infusion. There was a lot of people in the clinic, and I wanted to respect their privacy, but also they do a blood test, I guess, to see how much drugs is left in your system towards the end of the month. I guess they just want to see how my body is, I guess, absorbing the Remicade. And when the nurse put the needle in my elbow, they have to do it through my elbow usually, because my veins are so hard to find, and it takes them a good 20 to 30 minutes just to find a vein. That's just how my veins are. It always has been. No matter what I do, it's always hard to find. So usually takes about 20 to 30 minutes to find a vein. So this nurse, for some reason, I don't know what happened, but she put the needle in my elbow, found the vein, and just blood just squirted everywhere. So I don't know how, like it was shocking to me because I never seen that happen before with me. And just blood was everywhere. I don't know how she didn't get any blood on my clothes. Like it was spurting. It was like an episode of like Grey's Anatomy or something. It was so gross. So yeah, so after she managed to get the blood and then put the IV in, she was like, it was like a crime scene. And I was like, yeah, I've never seen my my veins do that before. So I guess she hit a good spot and got it like on the first try. So because that happened and because it was busy, I wasn't able to record myself getting the infusion, but it was very similar to my previous video where I'm just sitting there getting the medication, but it's 3 hours long, so I know you don't want to see me getting my IV for 3 hours. So that's the reason why I didn't record it while I was getting it. So hopefully maybe the next one, if there's not a lot of people, I can record little bits and pieces of myself in the clinic. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and make sure you like and subscribe. Bye for now.